What's up, guys? It's Zero Nova here. I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about being a Christian gamer. This is something that, God kind of put on my heart to talk about tonight because, there's a lot of confusion going on around, you know, what kinds of games Christians should play and that type of stuff, and how they should play them and all that stuff. So it's sort of like, I figured I'd share my personal opinions on them and what God showed me, and then let you guys make the ultimate decision. I'm gonna be playing a match or two here, Modern Warfare 2, where I talk about this. This is a live commentary, so I may do horrible in here. This is also the second time I've recorded this because apparently it didn't record it the first time for some reason. So yeah, let me go ahead and start trying to find a match and I'll start talking about this. So there's a lot of people that say, Christians should watch the types of games that they play, and they're right, but you also have to remember that God will show you if something you're playing or outside of video games, if something you're doing is wrong, it's not something he wants you to do. He'll let you know. He'll convict you about it. So, don't... okay. I'm gonna bet this kid was trying to shoot that kid. Anyway, if there's something that, you're not sure about, if it's something that you think that you shouldn't be playing, you probably should. Anything you're not sure about, pray and ask God about. And I know that probably got pretty loud right there. I'm hoping that the volume on this is good, because I don't feel like having to fix it all later. But always remember that everything that you do is stuff that make sure that everything you do is something that you feel is okay, because God will convict you if what you're doing is wrong. Now when it comes to video games in general, before I start talking about the content of the video games and what you can stay away from, what I see is okay and that type of stuff, anything that gets in the way of God isn't something that you should be spending as much time as you do on. There's nothing wrong with playing video games every once in a while, or making YouTube videos, or doing what I do, but you also have to remember that, don't let it come before God. If you find yourself, skipping out on church, or not reading your Bible, or praying like you should be, take a step back. You don't necessarily have to cut yourself off completely. You might, depending on who you are and how you are. But you might be okay to just, not play as much. There's nothing wrong with, setting yourself a time limit of how much you think you should be playing these games. But, now that we've sort of discussed, that aspect of it. Chase this kid down. You also need to look at the content of the games. Now when it comes to content, the two things you need to remember is A, violence. Oh, actually it's three things. You need to look at violence, language, how that worked, I don't know. Violence, language, and overall anti-Christian content. Now, I don't mean like I don't know, like genocide towards Christians in games. I mean like stuff that shouldn't be played. When it comes to the violent aspect, first, obviously I don't have a problem playing Call of Duty. Call of Duty is fun, it's what I do. Granted, sometimes I do get angry at it, and that's when you need to take a step back and you just say, okay, I'm not going to play this right now. I really shouldn't be playing this because this is making me angry, turning me into someone I shouldn't be. But, But you know, how much violence you let yourself play is totally up to you, and up to what God shows you should be playing. Different people are probably gonna, you know, playing different amounts of violent video games. You know, if it's something that, you know, you feel like God is telling you shouldn't be playing, then don't play it. But if, you know, if you're not feeling convicted by it, I don't see that there's any issue with it. But if it's something, like I said, if you're something you're not sure about, pray about it, and if it doesn't feel right, don't play it. Give you an instance of that. The game I'll talk about, like, overall Christian content later, is Grand Theft Auto. I used to play Grand Theft Auto when I was younger, but I got to the point now, you know, I don't like playing it because I don't feel like it's something I should be playing. The illegal stuff done in that game, and the fact that, you know, everything that's done in that game feels kind of pointless, like doing illegal stuff just to do illegal stuff, is sort of the aspect behind Grand Theft Auto to me anyway. Like, that type of stuff is what I'd stay away from. And why these kids aren't dying today, I don't know. I haven't been in this issue all day, by the way. But you also want to look at, like I said, just make sure, you know what God is okay with you playing. Now, like, there's certain stuff that, you know, that shouldn't be played by any Christians at all. There's other stuff that's okay for certain people and not okay for others. It just depends on, you know, what God wants for you. But, like, again, that's all up to you and what you and God decide. I totally stole that kid's care package. I could get away from that. Okay. Or not. But, you know, like I said, it's all up to you and God. Next aspect you want to look at is the language. Now, again, you have to remember that you can't avoid every single amount of foul language in the world. You know, you're gonna hear it at some point or another. Now, I'm not saying go out there and, you know, put yourself in a situation where that's all you're gonna hear, because that's not what you want to do. But you do need to remember that it's gonna happen. You're gonna hear it. And so a little bit in a video game isn't really that bad, especially when you're playing a game like Call of Duty where it's a military setting and, you know, the characters are saying that type of stuff. Now, if you've got, you know, a bunch of people in multiplayer saying it, just mute them. But, and a lot of times, at least more recent games now, have settings to where you can turn off the foul language and that type of stuff. But it's, like, again, it's really up to you and what you feel you need to do. Now, what was it? Now, depending on the words that are being used and how often they're being used is sort of where you might want to start drawing the line. Like, that sort of, again, depends on you. But, you know, for me personally, I feel uncomfortable if, you know, they're taking the Lord's name in vain a lot, you know, saying GD this and GD that. Like, a lot of that's what gets on my nerves, or excessive use of the F word. And I'm not saying the other words aren't bad, but they're not quite as bad to me as the other words. But regardless of that, you know, like I said before, and the aspect with everything is that pray to God about it and find out what He convicts you about and what you should be playing and what you should be playing. Actually, I'm gonna try to snipe a little bit, see how well I do. But so, you know, we've talked about violence, we've talked about language. Now we need to talk about, you know, overall content. Anything that, you know, you don't feel comfortable being around, you don't have to play. Like, I don't feel comfortable being around Battlefield, or not Battlefield. God, I don't know why I said Battlefield. I don't feel comfortable around, like, Grand Theft Auto anymore, because, you know, the excessive crime and unnecessary violence. Like, in here, you're at least trying to acquire some sort of goal. You know, you're supposed to be fighting for, you know, your country, doing what you do so you can keep your way of life preserved. Like, that's okay with me. Like, that's where I don't see that issue with. But when it comes to, you know, pointless violence or just like doesn't have much meaning behind it, that's where it's sort of like, okay, maybe this might not be a good idea. But you know, we're gonna talk about a recent game that I actually posted a video of me playing recently that came out that has some questionable content in it. Is what was it? Sniper Elite, Nazi Zombie Army. You know, I've always enjoyed playing zombie games because, you know, it's sort of unrealistic. It's fun, you know, to try to survive and that type of thing. Like, that's something that I've always been sort of interested in. You know, I like World War Z type stuff, just because, you know, it's sort of an interesting thing to think about sometimes. But in that game, there's a lot of, well, not a lot. There's a few spread around like pentagram type things, I guess, in it. You know, the star, upside down star with a circle around it or whatever, that, you know, is commonly considered to be a part of, you know, satanic worship or that type of stuff. And, you know, that's something I don't feel comfortable around with. And there's a little bit of that in the game. And I honestly, I don't play that game a lot. I just got it the other day and I really haven't played it that much because I don't really feel comfortable being that much around it. But I'm not going to totally write off the game just because I have to understand that a lot of the stuff that they put, some of this type of stuff, and I'm doing really bad with this, by the way, they put some of that type of stuff in games because to them it's just another symbol. You know, they don't understand where that symbol comes from or what it means, and so they will put it in there just because it suits their purpose. But like I said, you know, it's totally up to you what you feel is okay, what you are okay with being around. So, I mean, say if you don't feel comfortable with it, don't play it, or find, you know, an in-game setting that lets you turn off that type of stuff. I know Gears of War and some other games let you turn off the gore if you're not okay with the gore and the language and that type of stuff. You know, if it's something you're not comfortable with, a lot of times there's settings that they'll let you turn off. Or like games like this where, you know, there was a mission in the campaign where you're an undercover agent and you're forced to commit an act of terrorism, which I don't really want to talk about. Because if you guys don't know what it is, then you can look it up and do it on your own time. But it's something that, you know, is a realistic thing that you might, that a CIA agent might have to do. But I'm doing, you know, forget it. I'm going back to my ACR. But you know, it's whatever you feel comfortable with and what you feel convicted about and what you feel okay with. But you know, I'm just, I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like, you know, if you're really that worried about something, either don't play it or pray about it. But remember, people aren't perfect. You know, you might make mistakes, but if you see something that you're playing that you think is okay, that you feel is okay, but it starts to get in the way of God, you know, or you doing what you need to do, whether, you know, or it's making you do stuff you don't want to do. Like if a game is making you incredibly angry to the point where like you start slipping with your language, or you get like just really mad and start screaming your head off, it might be a good idea to either cut back on that game, or whenever you start getting that mad, take a break. You know, you don't have to keep playing the same game all the time. If it's making you do something you shouldn't do, there's no reason you have to keep doing it. You know, take a break from it. Because I'll admit sometimes there's been times, you know, not everybody's, or nobody's perfect. There's been times in my past where I've slipped with my language playing Call of Duty because I got mad because somebody did something. And, you know, it happens, but that's when you need to take a step back and be like, okay, I need to take a break. This is not a good idea. Let me just cool down a little bit and come back to it and hope for the best. And or if it starts, you know, and like I said before, if you're playing a lot of Call of Duty and that's getting in the way of, you know, you going to church or praying or doing what you need to do, then don't do it. But don't. You have to remember, you know, games are here for you to have fun with. You know, they're just a tool. You know, it's okay to have fun with them, but if they start being used to keep you from doing the things you need to do, or start making you do things you don't want to do or shouldn't be doing, then stop playing them or take a break. You know, just don't let the games control you. You control them. You're the one with the controller in your hand. That's why, you know, about that. Ah, I finally got a pred. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what you need to do. And if you're not sure about something, you know, you have other people out there, other Christian gamers out there that I'm sure you know that will give you their opinion on something. Now, like I said, everybody's different. Everybody's gonna have their own convictions. What, you know, you see is okay to play might not be something somebody else sees as okay to play. And just because, you know, somebody else sees something as okay to play doesn't mean that you will. You know, for instance, I have Christian friends of mine that think it's okay to play Grand Theft Auto. I personally don't, but that's between them and God whether they want to play it or not. You know, it's totally up to, you know, it always comes down, and this type of stuff or whatever you subject yourself to in general in life, not just when it comes to video games, but you know, the music you listen to, the stuff you watch on TV, what you read, all that type of stuff, it all comes down to, you know, your personal convictions and what you see is right and wrong. Now, if there's stuff that you know is blatantly wrong, like all you're doing is running around like killing people and laughing about it, and you know that game makes you a more aggressive person and that type of stuff, you know, that's a game you want to stay away from. Or if there's like a game that takes place in hell, and you know, it's just if it's not something you think you should be playing, don't play it. And you'll start to feel guilty about it if it's not something you should be playing and you don't feel quite sure about it at first. If you start feeling bad about it, you probably shouldn't be playing it. Don't necessarily knock a game straight off of the table just because, you know, people from your church don't think you should be playing it, because you all know as well as I do. No, like I said before, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has their own opinions, and so you know, just because somebody else thinks that something's wrong, that's up for debate, doesn't mean that, you know, it's necessarily wrong, or it might be wrong for them but not you. It's all a game of, you know, check. You know, finding out what God is okay with you doing and what God's okay. Oh, that was a double kill. Okay. But yeah, you know, I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helped you out. Hope y'all have a good day. And please like, comment, and or subscribe if you like this stuff. I promise to come out with more of this Christian content, and hopefully that'll be a new goal on my channel, is to, you know, provide gaming stuff and, you know, talk about my life, but at the same time, you know, promote God, because, you know, He's the reason that I'm here. So hope y'all hope you guys enjoyed the video, and you know, peace out. God bless.